Yo, Elliot, your entire body is your brain. The most important part of the game is your game piece. You don't think about it, you just know it's something that has to be done. It's like this. We've all experienced emotional, psychological, spiritual pain that will physically distort the body. Yo, Elliot. So we got a question here from one of our friends who's had an injury, an ankle injury, for the past 7 years. He says when he was 13 years old, he played sports. During a warm-up one day, he noticed that his ankle was hurting him, and he had to essentially quit playing the sport because he couldn't run, and he really couldn't even walk very effectively for months at a time because of this ankle injury that he didn't even know how he got. He's 20 years old now, 7 years later, and he still has the ankle injury. It's not allowing him to be the strongest version of himself. The exercises he liked to engage in, he might like to do some sprints, might like to jog or run and train in the gym, but he's hampered by this long-lasting ankle injury. He's wondering if I have any ideas to support him. So, very first thing that I just want to get out the way is that, boy, when you have an injury that you step on all day long, it's going to last a while. I tell you what, I cut my hand. You guys watched that video where I cut my hand 6 weeks ago? It's like it never happened, right? I sliced open the hand and it's like I had it wrapped up. It's my left hand, so not a big deal, so I just didn't use it for a little while. So I was training with it wrapped up. And it's like it never happened, right? And I was very mindful of how I use that hand and continue to use it in order not to build any faulty recruitment patterns that lead to muscular imbalance that will ultimately lead to chronic injury, right? You guys understand what I'm saying if you've been watching for a while. About 3 years ago, I stepped on some barnacles, right? And you know how bad, like, you can get really infected like that. I stepped on some barnacles and cut open my foot. And to this day, if I'm not very mindful, it will bother me. If I don't stretch it right, if I'm not very, like I said, mindful of how I approach that foot, I'm gonna have problems now. That's crazy. But the reason why is because one injury, you don't do anything with and it heals. The other one you step on all day long, and your ankle is just one of those things that you're gonna step on all day long. Now, let's take a few steps back and go to the root of lower limb muscular imbalance. to the lumbopelvic region in our core. Balance in the core. It's going to, and when I say core, I mean within the core, everything in your. Yo, Elliot. So I've got two questions in a row here about how to build bigger arms. First one is a kid who says, everything seems to grow in his body, keeps getting stronger, but his biceps are just puny, they won't grow. Another guy, same thing, except he describes his entire arm just kind of stays like fucking twigs. So everything else seems to grow, except his arms. You know, I don't have a well-documented or scientific answer for you on this one. It's more anecdotal based on my years of experience in coaching athletes, working with people, working with myself. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and describe what you might look like. Guys with skinny arms, I've often found, have a bit of a medial rotation in the upper arm, meaning that you have medial rotation of your upper arm if you hold on to pencils, right? You have the pencils together in your hands, and you stand, and the pencils point in towards one another. In other words, your upper arms rotate in. You see, they rotate in because of multiple tightnesses. I've talked about this several times, but mainly in the front anterior compartment of the shoulder, in your neck, your pecs to a degree. They're tight. This is often the case, and there is a extra flexion going on in the bicep tendon, right? So that means medial rotation of the upper arm and flexion. So without making fun, I gotta kind of exaggerate a little bit so you understand what's going on. Guys with skinny arms often end up looking like this. Rotated in, skinny arms. Not like those dudes that are like, fake big lats dudes that walk around like this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying medial rotation, flexion at the elbow, right? And it can be very subtle. Might take a trained eye to see it, but just in my experience, every kid that I see, this dude, he gets stronger, so, relatively speaking, his arms just won't fucking grow. There's that particular muscle imbalance associated with it. Guys who have big arms, their upper arm, the humerus, right, sets very neatly in the instantaneous axis of rotation of the shoulder, with ball and cup or whatever, can't remember. The ball joint, right, sets real nicely. The shoulders fall really nicely. There's no medial rotation. Also, at their elbows, their arms just kind of drop right at the elbow. Doesn't mean that they're hyperextending at the elbow, but everything just kind of sets nicely. So what that means is that there's a full range of motion available to that individual, as opposed to the person with the medial rotated upper arms and the flexed elbows. There's great restriction in their ability to really extend at the elbow, extend thoracically, and open up at the front part of the shoulder. So they're lacking this ability, right? And that's a function of having really cramped, tight muscles in the anterior compartment and also in the bicep. And what does that have to do with guys not with the inability to build their arms? Well, it means that you're not able to access the full mechanical expression of those particular muscles because they're short and tight, right? And you could just imagine, I'm going to give you a little bit of a diagram here with my fingers. You could just imagine that if this is I think they call them actin and myosin fibers, right? They're little fibers within your muscle. All of your muscles have this. All of your muscular system, your outer muscles have this. And when you extend and contract, when you contract a muscle, the fibers come together like this. And then when you lengthen a muscle, they move out like that. They go like this. Boom, boom, boom. And you can imagine, the more movement you can create within that muscle, given the stimulus that you're providing, heavy weights, multiple repetitions, whatever, the more response it's going to give you, i.e. get stronger or grow bigger. But when you have shortness of the muscles in the anterior compartment of the shoulder, which is really the gateway to your arm, it's the gateway. In other words, because it's close, it's more proximal to the core of your body, shit rolls downhill. Because up here, you have dysfunction. Down to your entire hand, down to your fingertips, you're going to be dysfunctional. Dysfunction in the ankles and wrists often stem from dysfunction within the core. Everything surrounding the spinal cord. So you're already screwed because the shoulder is dysfunctional, thoracic spine, and the cervical spine is all dysfunctional. You're probably very dysfunctional at the core. And then it allows for this greater dysfunction, or the expression of the dysfunction, to seem greater out on your limbs. Okay? And then, of course, the bicep tendon is short. But I'm saying that the bicep tendon is short because the shoulder is impacted. It's fucked up. So what you gotta do is, if you want bigger muscles in your arms, you gotta stretch them. What I would invite you to do is begin a corrective stretching routine that involves stretching the anterior compartment of the shoulder, meaning your pecs, your delts, I would begin stretching the upper trapezius, the rotators of your neck. You should be able to get full range of motion in your neck, moving all around. I work on that. I lay over the bioenergetic stool, like I teach you, or foam roll your thoracic, opening up your ability to extend the spine. Notice, I didn't tell you the bicep yet. I want you to work from the inside out, so work on the shoulder and the core. And then, of course, stretch your freaking bicep. Hand against the wall. I've done videos about this. And extended. Boom. By the way, sort of a commercial. I have an entire course that's about muscular imbalance and correction, which is called Advanced Neuromuscular Strength. It's usually a link down below, and also on my blog. You know, if you want to do your own research and watch my 1,000 videos and put it together yourself, great, because, you know, I give you all this information for free. I just give you guys this stuff. But if you want a course that has it all laid out for you, that's why I put that together for you. But anyway, that's it, dude. What I would invite you to do is to soften and lengthen those muscles. Granted that there aren't other physiological or energetic reasons why they're tight, you should be able to increase range of motion. And then when you go back to your bicep and tricep training, work through full ranges of motion, at least in the beginning. Work through full ranges of motion, and I would probably keep the tempo very low, meaning go slowly, and the volume very high, meaning lots of time under tension. With the slower tempo, it'll be higher time under tension, but also add more reps, more sets, more frequency. Done. Yo, Elliot.
It's a waste.
Yo, Elliot. Alright, I got a question about shoulder pain from our buddy Alex. He's 17 years old, lives in Germany, hasn't been able to train for the past several months because of a problem that he's having within his shoulder complex. It's a bit complicated, so let me explain. Very first thing he recognized is that his bicep tendon was irritated and the pain dragged across his collarbone, right? He went to a doctor, he went to a physiotherapist. He said that he had a blockade in his shoulder, cracked his thoracic spine and cervical spine. Afterwards, his shoulder felt relaxed, but his bicep tendon began to hurt even more. After a few days, it went away. Now, when I came back to the physiotherapist, he found a spot on my back near my right shoulder blade that hurt when he pressed it with his fingers. He tried to crack it, but nothing happened, of course. Sometimes the spot hurts even without pressure. I know I'm not the only one. Hope you can answer this question. Okay. What a neuromuscular therapist would call that is a trigger point or a hot spot, which what you've experienced in that little spot that you described as being painful even when no one's touching it. Before I offer you some resources and ideas about how to support you with this particular pain, I just want to shed light on your circumstances so that other people can see that pain, when dealt with at the actual ground zero point of the pain, usually, if corrected, will show up somewhere else. And this is throughout our entire body with multiple different, if you're talking energetically, physiologically, or neuromuscularly. Oftentimes, if we fix one problem, it shows up somewhere else. So for example, if you got dandruff, right? And you get rid of the dandruff through now, when I say heal the problem, I mean kind of mask the problem. There's a difference between masking something and healing it ultimately. Let's say you get rid of your dandruff by using a particular type of shampoo or herbal thing in your hair. Well, now you got a rash on your arm, your armpits now. Now your armpits are really fucking itchy. You've got redness all up under your armpits, right? And then so you put some cream under there. Now you got jock itch, and your toenails are looking like corn chips because they're all fucking thick and yellow. The thing is that wherever you correct a problem, now that's physiologically, right? Of course, it can happen energetically, meaning psychologically. You know, you're depressed. Better yet, you have anxiety. So you take a anti-anxiety pill. Well, it's great now, but you can't sleep. So you think, but your liver enzymes are up. Well, you got liver problems now, so take a liver pill. Do you see the cycle there, folks? So yours is neuromuscular. So we're talking about the kinetic chain. And you had a problem in your bicep. It was corrected through manipulation of the cervical spine, and now it's showing up in the muscular system beneath with trigger points beneath the shoulder blade. Right? It's going to keep doing it. You're going to keep chasing it down until you get to the root of the issue. The thing is that it's
stretch your whole damn body.
Be a form of investigation for you. You're just going to have to keep going back to figuring out why you have this problem, and it could stem from chronic injury issues. It could, just poor habit, poor like sitting habits, walking habits. It could have been an acute injury that is now showing up in multiple different areas of your life. It could be a physiological issue that's showing up neuromuscularly, or an energetic psychological issue that's showing up in your body. This is why it's fascinating to me, but this is also why answering a question, like most people would like me to tell you, hey Ellie, why don't you just fucking answer the question in 1 minute?
Yo, William, right back. Why you killed my sensei? of all muscle
We're not that
problems.
simple. And if you think we're that simple, you've bought a lie that the world wants you to believe about just how simple you really are. You're very complex. You're very magical in that way. The human body is far more magical than we want to give it credit for, simply because we've decided to cut it up into pieces when we study it and when we work with it, instead of seeing it holistically for what it actually is. Rant over. Here's some ideas that might support you in further chasing down the root of your issue. What you're experiencing is more than likely it's called a trigger point, if what you're describing is what I understand to be the case. There is a book I would invite you to get. If you cannot, first I would see if you can afford to get a highly trained neuromuscular therapist or trigger point therapist, someone who specializes in softening the tissue in this particular way. Not every physiotherapist, obviously, he tried to fucking crack it. You don't crack a muscle. Doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So you gotta find someone who's trained in working with the neuromuscular system. And there's so many different new specialties out there today that it's incredible. Do some research. Anyway, after that, if you can't fix it yourself, look into resources, particularly this book here that I've had for many years that I've used to support myself and others, called the Trigger Point Therapy Workbook, your self-treatment guide to pain relief. Right? And we all will have pain at some point. So I'd invite you to go and get it by Claire Davies. Interesting book. So anyway, I'm going to show you a few pictures just to give you an idea of the muscle that you may be dealing with. Those muscles are beneath the shoulder blades. You've got different ones like the teres major and subscapularis, like I mentioned in other videos. Let's see. It could be your latissimus dorsi. It could be your infraspinatus. There's so many different ones here. Supraspinatus. But anyway, the point is that this book helps you pinpoint where exactly you're dealing with the pain, and then it gives you exercises. Treatment gives you the causes, the root issues, which is really great. The book can help you in your investigation. But it also gives you a treatment. It talks about the symptoms, and then you go ahead and do it yourself. That's the whole point of this book, is that it's self-myofascial release. So what I would invite you to do is to get the resource so that you understand what's going on, but also invest in some tools that will support you. This is a fan. Cross ball will work, foam roller maybe, but you really need like a stiff ball, right? And a cross ball has really worked best. And what you're gonna do is, just like it shows you in the book. In the book, he's got like this, I don't know what you call them, but it's like a stick with a ball in the end, and he kind of digs around in there, and he puts pressure on that hot spot, on that trigger point, right? And you do the same thing with this ball. You lay it on the floor, and then you move your arm in a particular way that they teach you in this book, and you lay right down on it, and you kind of roll on it, you kind of lay on it, and what that's doing is, if you could imagine that trigger point, you said it was a spot, just imagine that it's like, if this is your muscle, right? It's a portion of this muscle balls up and it's in tightness, right? It's chronically flexed, right? Just a portion of that muscle. It just digs in and bang, and it tightens up there. And what you gotta do is, you gotta seduce this muscle out of its anxiety. The muscle's fucking anxious. So by pressing on it, right? Like what happens when you hug an angry or upset or ridiculous, like a crazy child. I know my children, when they're all crazy and they're nuts and they're upset about something, I just grab them and I hold them and I go, shh. I squeeze them tight, unless they're like so crazy they want to punch me and run away. But oftentimes, because I have girls, I'll hug them and go, shh, and I'll squeeze them. And what that does is, it reduces the anxiety, it reduces the energy in her entire body, and the entire organism. This here is just muscle. So by putting pressure on it, you cause it to go to sleep, and over time, it'll begin to open. I would invite you to also stretch after you've softened the muscle. So focus on softening the muscle and then stretching its boundaries so that doesn't happen again. Keep working on tracking back the root issue. Keep watching my videos. I talk about things of this nature quite often. And I'm done. Yo, Elliot. Yo, Elliot. So we got this question from one of our friends who says he's a prisoner of his own muscular system. Sounds like you've been watching Elliot Hulse videos too much. He goes on to describe a pretty typical muscular imbalance that he has that's not allowing him to squat deeply. And it's pretty fascinating. Apparently he's been watching a lot of my videos because he describes how the body works in slings. And he says he's learned this from watching my videos. And also how there's a ground reaction force. How everything begins from the ground, oftentimes. Not every, there's no hard and fast with this one, but oftentimes begins from the ground up. And what he's found is, this is really fascinating, so watch me, I'm going to try to demonstrate here. He's got a really tight right Achilles, so he can't really flex his ankle very well on the right side. So watch me, this is what ends up happening. And this is how the kinetic chain works, folks. It's pretty cool. I mean, basically his question is, what the hell can I do? I'll give you some advice in a moment, but I just want to share this with you guys. Okay, so, I don't know if you can see, but imagine my right ankle cannot bend, so it just stays, you know, this is my foot, right? It just stays like this. I can't really bend at my ankle. I can't flex at the ankle, right? So if that's the case, but I can flex at this ankle. My left ankle can bend. What's going to happen is I'm going to shift into the side that can bend. Because this side can't bend, you move out of the restriction. Always remember that, especially when it comes to the lower body. You move out of your restriction. Wherever you have tightness, your body tends to move away from into the area that allows range of motion. Your body takes the path of least resistance. So there's range of motion on this side, there's none on this side, the ankle in particular. What's going to happen is, as you squat, you're going to do this, right? This hip is going to start shifting that way. It's shifting away from the resistance. Now, what he's also experiencing, and this is all documented in his email, is that his lumbar spine, his low back, and his oblique on this side is in severe pain. So he's got tightness on the right ankle and pain on this side. Interesting, right? Because you go to the doctor, right? You go to the chiropractor or the back doctor. He wants to look at your back. He wants to look right here. Oh, it looks like you got some bulging discs there, sonny. Let's go and cut it out, right? Because discs are bad. We need to cut them out and fix them. Or, some other surgery, or you're going to come back every day for the next 6 months for me to crack it. Not realizing, like, the root issue is the tightness in his ankle. Right? This is why I'm happy to be educating you guys in this particular way. This is more of my specialty, I think, than bodybuilding or anything of that nature. It's understanding the muscular system, understanding the 4 layers of strength, really, and how we're interconnected we are. The kinetic chain is just one basic idea associated with the neuromuscular system. So check it out. It goes even further. He writes this in his email. So he's restricted here. He leans, right? So he's got pain here because in order to stay upright, just think about it. What do you have to do? Otherwise, your whole body is going to be tilted, and your body does everything that it can in order to keep your eyes level to the horizon. So you're going to do this. Boom. So now you've got a lot of tightness on this side, a lot of pain on this side. Also, right? You start doing this, the body's naturally going to want to turn. The head's going to turn this way, right? Boom. So what he's got to do is he's got to put extra effort into the ability of keeping his face straight. So I'm exaggerating it, but this is what he ends up looking like, right? This is what you end up looking like. So the muscles, again, he describes, are very tight on the right side of his neck. Interesting how it works that way, right? Like zigzags up and down the body. Right? So your body constantly compensating for itself. So what do? Well, obviously, stretch that right ankle. Stretch your lumbar spine. You're also going to be tight in your IT band.
Can't see it. Count down.
Tensor fascia latae, your external oblique on that side. You're just going to want to do sort of side bends. Stretch out this whole side. I mean, if you stretch the core muscles, the neck muscles are going to fall in line, right? Because shit rolls downhill. You fix this, then you'll be a little bit more upright, and then you stretch that, of course. You stretch that side, you stretch it. Easier said than done. So that's the basics of it. You're gonna want to stretch, right up that zigzag line. Stretch. I would invite you to get into a regular practice of not only corrective stretching, but exercise modalities that require that you move through full ranges of motion and stretch all of your muscles in tandem. You know, you're a unit. So of course you're doing corrective stretching, which I often talk about before your exercises in order to reduce the dysfunction in that particular area of the body. But I invite you to do yoga. Or, like I do, because I don't have time for yoga classes anymore, I just spend a significant portion of time doing intuitive stretching before I go to bed at night. Last night I spent probably about an hour stretching everything from my hips down to my fingers and toes. I stretched everything. Spend some time with intuitive stretching. That means you're almost like meditating in your stretch. You're moving through ranges of motion, and you're doing particular, get a yoga book. Find certain yoga postures that you feel open up different muscles that have become tight, and then you do it through your whole body. As you open up one set of muscles, you find that, boy, it just revealed tightness in other portions of your body, and you spend your time stretching it in that fashion. And then finally, the last but not least, I'll throw this piece of information out there to anyone who's watching this, that you've got to recognize also, and I don't know if it's a chicken or an egg situation. In other words, I don't know if it started from the ground up or if it started from the neck down, but you've got to consider the atlas. I made blog posts, and I'm sure I made videos about this, but there's the vertebrae.
I'll be back, okay? Whoa, I look very sad in that video, man. I'm just like this.
Right at the base of your skull. Hold your atlas, and it floats. It's not locked in like the other vertebrae. It floats, and it tends to sublux easily. And if it subluxes or moves out of its natural position easily, it screws up everything from the neck down. So the minute, because just think about it, right? Your spinal cord drops out of the base of your skull, right? Just consider it that way. And you've got the first guy hanging out there. If he's off and he's interfering with the nervous system's ability to speak evenly throughout your entire body. Say, for example, sublux one way, and then you get like maybe 70% energy going out to your right, to your left side, and only 30% going out to your right side. Now you simply can't conjure up the strength on one side as opposed to the other. There's an imbalance in strength due to an imbalance at the nervous system level, or it's neuromuscular, but it's impeding on the nervous system's ability to feed the muscular system and the organs. So you can suffer from visceral dysfunction, organ problems due to a subluxation of the atlas. So that's it. Gave you guys a lot of ideas in this video. Hopefully that helps you, bro. Done. Yo, Elliot.
I haven't been hitting the gym much. Only today I went up bench pressing and I got out of there. Now I gotta stretch before I go to bed nowadays. And when I wake up, same as praying too. Damn. Took out too much memory. Yeah, I lost those brain cells. Found my tuner. How many times have I told you in my head? get on to some music. What's another word for love when you need it the most? Okay. Ryukan. Torpedo. La 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 la. Can't think of a song to play. There's so many good songs to play. Can't pick one song from another, but some songs you don't know, it's kind of hard to play. I'm like a novice player. What's a good acoustic song? Coming.
What can you play on guitar? Any middle?
I'm a novice. I'm trying my best to be the best I can. But I'm trying to play What If God Was One of Us? Oh, any metal? D-Pain 34, eh? Eh?
Show me what you got, bro.
Show me what you got, bro. Okay. Let's see if this thing can load up. see which ones. Not getting any tabs. Finally. Capo on 2nd fret. Imagine that this song would. Imagine what the fuck just happened. Fuck! You see that shit happen, man?
Wadim Lefty 2. What? I'm lefty too. Yeah, everybody's practically lefty. Strum with your right hand, play with your left hand. That's what you mean if you see it a different way, but yeah. It looks like I'm lefty from this angle. From this angle, I'm lefty. With my right hand, and I strum with my left hand right here. Damn old Xbox 360 still kicking though, but frick, I had it for a long time. Call it kicking wing, and later on kicking ass. Nobody's watching now. I don't think so. But I'll try to sing this song and play it. Cheer. Oh, shit. Guess there's no freaking... I shouldn't say friggin'. Friggin's a bad word. Whoever's watching this, I hope you have a good day for the rest of the day. Or if your day is starting, I hope you have a good day. And I'm worried for you. I'm also worried for myself. You know how stresses that is, man? I worry so much. I'm gonna play a little bit of Final Fantasy before I go to bed or something. Peace and love be with you. Amen to that. I'm going to bed. Play some Final Fantasy first. And I love you. I deeply, truly love you. Without you, I don't know what I'll do. Okay, bye.